Welcome back, everybody, to Real Good Friends. The next reel, here we go. This is going to be a fun one. I feel like it's a big week. It was a big week in the film connoisseur world. We got our topics, as you can see in our little graphic here. We're going to obviously talk about the Odyssey. We're going to review, spoiler-free, the Odyssey. We got a Doomsday trailer. I think it was like the day after Odyssey. Doomsday trailer came out, and then we have a question from Source 3 Energy, who left a comment on the last video. So if you have a question for us, you can comment on this video. But before any of those things, I'm just going to turn the time over right to Pro for profits and pros picks as we talk about the box office for the last week and what we saw recently. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah. So no surprise, the champ of the box office this week is the Odyssey, coming in at 123.5 million domestically. Of course, helped out tremendously by IMAX and the premium large format screens. I know, and also the 70 millimeter projection showings. So I'm seeing this. I saw it in Cinemark PLF this week, this past weekend. But I'm going Saturday morning to see it in the set. It's not an IMAX 70 millimeter, but it's just 70 millimeter projection. And it's $20 a ticket.
Dang.
And it's like I'm going at 8:30 in the morning. So it's super early, and it's still $20. Dang. There was another theater up here that's doing a 70 millimeter, and they wanted $25.
That's absurd.
Yeah, so 2 tickets was like almost $50 just to get in the door. So I don't know what they get cut from that. Like the studios get a cut of it. I don't know how the breakdown works on these special presentations. But yeah, it's tremendously very very big success for Nolan. I don't think it's his biggest opening.
I haven't read any of the articles. I kept seeing headlines that were like, the Odyssey is record breaking for Christopher Nolan or something like that, and then I was like, oh yeah, sure, like it's good. So maybe I should have.
I don't know if it was or not. I thought maybe Oppenheimer was still.
I mean,
number one because of Barbenheimer.
If we want to be real here, let's look up.
Let's look it up.
Odyssey opening box record. Let's see. What is it? Why can't I find it? Yeah, biggest. Okay, well, it's the biggest global opening for Christopher Nolan. The Dark Knight Rises had 249 globally, and this is at 264 globally. So it looks like it's a global box office that is where it's winning. Who knows about domestically?
This headline is crazy. From Deadline, the Odyssey posts powerful $20 million Tuesday, which is a lot of theaters discount days. I was at the theater tonight seeing a different movie, and my theater was very busy.
Yeah,
the parking lot was jam packed. Yeah. This is crazy though. Second U.S. weekend could top the Dark Knight in terms of its like the first weekend of Dark Knight.
Wow.
In its second weekend. That's crazy to me. But just goes to show how far like Christopher Nolan has become. Like this, the clout he carries anymore. I saw somebody talk about this. I think it was in Reddit, where they talk about directors being the franchises now.
Yeah.
And now that now Nolan is squarely in that category with Spielberg and Scorsese and the titans of the industry.
Right.
I think Nolan is square. I mean, he already was, but I think he's just cemented his legacy further. But
yeah,
number 2 this week.
Sorry to interrupt on this. I will just say,
no, you're good, bud.
I go to the movie not as frequently as you, but I feel like I'm a pretty frequent movie theater goer.
Yeah,
it's probably been, and I'm not exaggerating, I'm not being hyperbolic, I'm being very sincere here. It's probably been since COVID that I saw the theater that full. The parking lot was filled, like that many people in line, that many people buying popcorns and drinks, that many people like in their seats. someone tried to steal our seat because we barely made it on time. And they knew it as soon as we start. Like I started like shining my light to see the number. They like got up immediately and ran. They knew it. Anyway, I have not seen it at the theater that full, which is really impressive for me. That it's also R-rated. For an R-rated film to Poland, like there's always kind of that separation of like, oh, this is an R-rated film, there's a PG-13 film, and kind of that separation. So at least from like my anecdotal experience, it's huge culturally. It feels like people really want to go see this movie.
It was it was definitely hyped up, and I think seeing it, I'm really curious how much it's going to drop this weekend. Or if it's going to be positive word of mouth and it's going to have legs.
Yeah.
And it's people seeing it again. Like I plan on seeing it this weekend. I actually plan on seeing it the third weekend, which I'm going to have to figure that out because, then Spider-Man comes out in 2 weeks. So a week from Friday, right. Spider-Man will be out. That will eat into some of the Odyssey box office. But I think that I think it's going to do well. I think it's pretty much going to I think it's going to be another $1 billion movie. Which I think is crazy to me that everyone kind of went into this year being so hyped about it. And I think the box office is doing well, but it's not the movies that we all thought were going to do well. That's leading the way. But speaking of disappointments, number 2 is Moana, coming in at 17.9 million. Now in its second week, coming in at a total $81 million domestically, which is far below expectations and estimates. Number 3, Toy Story 5, fifth week now, 13.76 million. It is closing in on the $1 billion worldwide mark at 957.5 million. Number 4, a slight disappointment, I'd call this one, the Minions and the Monsters, 13.6 million now in its third week, standing at 136.3 million. And then in fifth place, the latest Evil Dead movie, Evil Dead Burn, now in its second week, 4.73 million domestically, 23.8 million domestically in its 2 weeks. Notable, and it'll be probably the last time that we talk about this, Michael, we've been on the $1 billion watch for this movie for a long time. It feels like it's finally crossed the $1 billion threshold. It's now this is the first biopic to go over $1 billion.
That's cool.
And I believe it's only the second film of the year to make it the $1 billion. I think the Mario 2 was the only one.
Right.
Prior to this. So, congratulations to Michael and Lionsgate's the highest grossing by far Lionsgate picture, which also surprised me, given that they're a pretty large studio. But yeah, Michael crossed $1 billion. Upcoming new releases, you have Motor City. It's pretty quiet week. I think people are, with the Odyssey, the wake of the Odyssey, and then Spider-Man upcoming. This was kind of a quiet week. But Motor City, which I'm actually looking forward to a lot. It's starring Alan Richardson. It's a dialogue-free action film.
Whoa, interesting.
Which is it's really interesting. So I'm looking forward to that. I'll probably catch it on a discount day next Tuesday. And then Hades Town, the musical, is also probably the other wide release this week. So that's your profits and pros picks.
So as we kind of move it, this will be like our preface into the next topic where we're going to talk about Obviously, we both went to go see the Odyssey.
Yep.
Did you go see anything else since we've talked
about I saw 2 other films since we spoke last. So last Tuesday, and we're filming this on a Tuesday. We usually film on Monday, so I don't get my discount day movie review in for the current week because we're a day ahead. We're a day behind. But I saw a movie tonight, Ashley, so you're gonna get a first.
Oh, okay. We get it a week early,
fresh. Out of the box, out of the oven, fresh. So last week we saw The Invite with Seth Rogen, Olivia Wilde, Penelope Cruz, and Ed Norton. I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was one of the funniest movies I've seen in a long time. Just the chemistry with the cast, I thought was really great. The direction by Olivia Wilde, like a lot of she directed it. it was a witty script. It was very funny. It's not like slapstick comedy. It was like dialogue. Like you got
Mm.
like conversation, and really pay attention to like some of the little things that Seth Rogen says, and like the whole crew. Takes place entirely inside of their apartment, which was really
Wow.
interesting. And some of the camera work that they did in there, but great chemistry from the cast. I thought it was hilarious. And then tonight, we actually saw Toy Story 5 finally. We were kind of on the fence about it. We were like, you know what? It's discount day. Let's just go. Let's go see it. So I had never, I had not, I've only seen 1 and 2. I haven't seen 3, and I haven't seen 4. So I didn't know what to expect going into 5, if I would even, appreciate it. And, I think it really was timely, and it had a good message to it.
Hmm.
It was all about tech versus toys, and how tech, when in balance with everything else, and when it is good for, it could be good for us, but when it's out of balance, it's a detriment and
Right.
an addiction. And they kind of went into that, and it was a good message about like finding friendship, and
Hmm.
what's finding your purpose. Like one of the subplots in the movie was Jesse, the cowgirl, coming into like, what's my purpose? I'm being replaced by technology.
Hmm.
Am I the problem? Am I a failure as a toy? And kind
Wow.
of like her journey was really like, it was really emotional. It was really powerful, and I thought it was a good message for all people, not just kids, but the families as a whole. So
Cool.
I was really impressed. I was surprised. I didn't think I was going to like it as much as I did, but I did end enjoying it. So I saw The Invite, both recommend, and then Toy Story 5, I also recommend.
Wow. I actually might be really interested to see Toy Story 5 then.
Yeah, I think, I know you have a young one, and I think I don't know, because they go in a lot about like screen time, and like, and how modern, like, because I remember as a kid, I had tech like a Nintendo, but I played with a lot of my action figures. I had action figures,
Right.
and Ellen and I were on the way home, and she's like, "Well, do you remember how did you play as a kid?" And I said, "I would just like do what they did in the movie. I just dump out my box of toys, my bin of toys, and I would set up." And I said it was a lot of fights and a lot of battles, like good
Yeah.
versus evil, and stuff like
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
And but I used my imagination. I was able to use my
Yeah.
imagination, and I feel like it touched on it in the movie, where kids just play these games, but they're not really playing. They just play games. They're not using their imagination to
Right.
play. And it doesn't create as meaningful relationships with people. So I thought it was a really good message. I would if you'd see it, I would definitely go see it.
Okay. I'll
Yep.
consider it. Well, yeah, I just saw the Odyssey. Sorry, I don't have 3 movies to report. I just saw the Odyssey on my
What'd you
birthday,
think
no
of it?
less, which
Oh,
was
was your
very
happy
fun.
birthday? Happy belated birthday.
Thank you. Yeah, it was fun. Like the fun thing is that Christopher Nolan is a fan of releasing movies around my birthday. That like really is. He's like a July. Maybe this is I'm giving out personal information here. He's like a July 17th. He really likes the July 17th date, and my birthday is July 18th. So it always works out nice with Christopher Nolan. So that was fun. So yeah, I guess we can just move into this next topic here
Yeah,
and
let's
get
move
into the
into it.
Odyssey
Let's jump
review.
right in.
We will, despite this being like the oldest recorded story, that's probably not true, but like one of the oldest stories we have. It's 3,000 years old. How old is this story? Spoilers, we will still avoid for the Odyssey. Because I think as someone who had not read the Odyssey, I was familiar with the ideas in it, and like just kind of like generally knew what happened. I knew some of the specifics. Like I knew there was a Cyclops as an example, and I knew some of the other interactions that Odysseus has. I didn't know like the story, if that makes sense, and so it was fun being taken along that story. And I want to preserve that for other people. So we'll just give our review of the Odyssey. And this is what I'll say. My family was here in town this week. It's been a lot of fun spending time with them. And so I went and saw the Odyssey, and they all asked. They all knew I was excited. And I came back and saw them the next day. And I asked, "So, what'd you think of the Odyssey?" And what I said was, "I loved it. It was a spectacle in every way that I love movies. Everything that I love about movie watching and movie making is the Odyssey was. It was an epic story that I could really connect to the characters and be invested in their journey. and maybe like as a benefit have some take away from its themes and meanings. But even without that, it was just cool to follow along these characters and their stories, and the way that the story was told using the mechanics of filmmaking was very captivating and extremely entertaining to watch. And that's like, without spoilers, that's like the best review I can do. I loved it. I'm like a typical, I'm kind of hyperbolic if people don't know that about me. It's an easy 5 out of 5 for me. 5 out of 5 stars for the Odyssey.
Well, recency bias. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's some of that, but I like, I'll be honest, I'm like, it's easier for me to just be like, wow, I really like that. I had a great time. It was a 5 out of 5 experience, instead of like, oh, well, the film had this thing in the I'm going to get, here's a bit of a soapbox. This isn't part of my Odyssey review, but when we walked out of the theater, literally full, jam packed. Every seat in the theater was full, which like I said, I haven't seen that in a long, long time. So we walk out, we're all like crammed in the hallway. Everyone's trying to race off to the bathroom. People are trying to get like those hallways. So it's the biggest IMAX auditorium in my state is the one that we went to. It's huge, and the hallway's not big enough for all those people. So you're like smushed in with people, So as we're like walking our way through these people, I'm like eavesdropping on everyone's conversation. Like, oh, what is this person think? Like I love just eavesdropping and hearing what people say. Anyway, one group of people were making all they were talking about was the things they didn't like about the movie, the plot holes, the complaints about the dialogue, the specific writing aspects, how the dialogue or specific production design elements are like incorrect for the time period that the film is. And all those, like, those are fine. I'm not going to say that those complaints are wrong, but I was like, why not just allow yourself to enjoy it? Like,
right.
I don't know. There's like this weird attitude that we, especially when you get, if you're someone who listens to this podcast, this is a weird soapbox, but like when you reach a point of enjoying something that it's like a pretty significant, part of your brain, like you think about it a lot, it's a big hobby for you. There's like this weird attitude that sometimes you inherit that you almost have to like analyze it to enjoy it. That the enjoyment isn't valid until you sift it through your analytical process, because you're engaged enough in the hobby that you can analyze it. You're educated enough about it that your analysis is valid. But so there's like this weird attitude that the enjoyment can't come until it sifts through that analysis. And I think it's fun when you can get beyond that and just be like, it was good. It was good entertainment, and I enjoyed being entertained by it. And for that, it's a 5 out of 5. And I'm sure, even if I went back and reviewed it, it probably and really tried to be critical and be analytical, it probably wouldn't go much lower than a 4 out of 5. I really loved the Odyssey. It was a great time watching a movie.
Yeah, I also gave it a 5 out of 5. But I don't think it's a perfect film.
Right.
And I'm not even sure if it's Nolan's best work. From a movie perspective. Now, from a filmmaking perspective, I think it's him at the peak of his powers.
Absolutely.
With everything that went into it. So I gave it a 5 out of 5, but I don't think it's a perfect film. But again, it's one of those with Project Hail Mary. I couldn't stop thinking about the movie after I left it. And those are the two movies I've had this year where I really was impacted by it and continued to think about it long after I was gone at home. And now my TikTok feed is all the making of the movie. And I hear about, and I said in my review for my Facebook friends that I usually don't review movies, as if I be like a million movies, and there'd be no reason to watch this podcast. But with when there's a movie that I think everyone should go see, I make a review. I'll make a post about it. And I said exactly what you said. It was everything I love about movies and movie making and movie watching, like you exactly said. But then I said that we need to reward people with our money, these filmmakers and studios, for doing these extra things like practical effects and on-site filming. Like the whole of Troy was an actual on-site location that they did, and the Trojan horse scene. And I'm going to get in some, I mean, this is stuff that was in the trailer. So I don't think I'm getting into too much of a spoiler, and you should know that there's a Trojan horse. It's been all over the marketing. They actually filmed that in in the interior of the horse.
Yeah, it's absurd to me.
So like Nolan and the cinematographer Hoyte,
Hoytema, who's like a large guy, and then a
yeah,
70 millimeter IMAX camera, which is also
we're,
huge.
we're all in this Trojan horse. Like,
Yeah,
and
absurd.
like Damon was in, like Matt Damon was in there, and just like all these actors were
Yeah,
piled in this Trojan horse. And then the Cyclops was an actual puppet.
yeah,
Like, and then there's a scene. Now, I can't get into too much. This is kind of getting into spoilers, but I'm gonna give it a description the best I can without getting into it. So I hope you're picking up on it. The one scene where I had really difficult time watching
yeah,
was the body horror
yeah,
scene, and I just saw this like 2 days ago or maybe a day ago, where it was Anne Hathaway and Tom Holland. I think we're talking
yeah,
about this.
yeah. I saw the same clip.
Where's practical effects?
Yeah,
And it's like, what the hell? Like, I can't go further than that. But that was nuts. I was like, oh my gosh, it did
yeah,
this. Then the whirlpool, like they were talking about the making of that. Like, yeah, the center of the whirlpool was CGI, but Nolan had a team of jet skiers on jet skis in a circle to create like something to shoot,
yeah,
and then they CGI'd the middle. So just fantastic.
yeah,
I loved it. I think it's going to be probably the highest. It's going to get the most Oscar odds, I think,
yeah.
this year.
I agree.
I think Nolan will be, given what will happen with some of the other movies this year, like Dune 3 and some other films later in the year, and Project Hail Mary, I think we'll get some love too. But I really think Nolan will get best direct a bit. I think he's a favorite for me.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Odyssey right now is the best picture of the year. Damon will probably get a lead actor
Yeah,
nod for his performance. Hathaway might
she
as
should.
well. She should. I don't know about Tom Holland getting one for supporting role. I think he was really good, but I don't know if he was like Oscar
No.
caliber worthy. The score was
Yeah,
fantastic. The cinematography, just everything about the movie was great.
yeah,
And it's one of those movies where you're like, what was your favorite shot? Like, there's that shot of Agamemnon
yeah.
that was just perfectly like centered,
When the gates
and
open.
the gates open, and he's
Sick.
just
Yeah.
aura farming
Yes,
there, and it
sick.
was like, this is like so cool.
So
And it
like
reminded me a
on
lot.
character too. Like I was like,
Yeah.
not
Well,
only
Benny Safdie, man. Like, I
yeah,
couldn't like this. Yeah, it was such a wild, like, oh, that's Benny. I knew it was Benny Safdie going into it.
yeah, I think it's so cool when and this is what I'll say about like this. The same thing can be said about the practical versus CGI stuff. I just love when filmmakers are intentional. CGI is an incredible tool. I just think
It
that
can be for
filmmakers
sure.
have
Yeah.
lost intentionality. Like obviously the whirlpool is CGI, but Christopher Nolan is out there saying we're going to have a whirlpool here, and I want my blocking and my framing to be this way, and I want to have something for myself and my cinematographer and my actors to position themselves relative to. So let's get some jet skiers out there and whip them around in circles. Of course, the jet skiers are completely erased with CGI, and a CGI whirlpool is put in. It's not the absence of CGI; it's just an intentional use of it. And when you are going to use it, being intentional in the filmmaking prior to the use of the CGI, I think is and I think that same moment with Agamemnon when he's R farming, it's like that would be a moment that could be in a comic book or could be in a comic book movie.
Oh yeah.
It could be
Yeah.
could be very distracting from the story because it's put in there to be like a cool moment, right? A trailer moment, as we sometimes call it. Where
It wasn't
is
even in the trailers.
it wasn't even in the
Like,
trailer. And
yeah.
two, it's like precisely what I would assume that character would do. Of course, that character would be there in that position when the gates open, doing absolutely nothing but standing there. It was adding to the storytelling while also being really cool. Yeah. Anyway, sorry I
what?
interrupted you there.
No, you're fine. You're fine. One thing that I did not like. I'll get into criticism, and then I got another like point to like to talk about the audio mixing. Like, in parts were really well done, but then like that Cyclops scream like was super loud. And I've heard that from multiple people. It wasn't just me. Like my brother saw it in IMAX, and he said that drove him nuts. to the point where he almost ruined the movie for him, I think. But he
That's
ended up liking it. But and then that, but like in a good way, um, what's the best way to describe this without spoiling it? The storm scene, like,
oh yeah,
um, like just the sound effects. My seat was rumbling.
yeah,
I didn't see it in the 4DX or the D box seats or anything like that. But my seat was the sound was cranked up so loud. My seat was rumbling as if I was like there with them,
yeah.
and that was just insane to me. Um,
I wish we
one
could get
thing
some
that mhm,
detail because I agree that the interesting thing is the Cyclops scream didn't notice anything with the sound mixing, but I did notice some sound mixing with some dialogue in different scenes, and it wasn't like I couldn't quite put my finger on what it was about. It was just like, oh, the sound mixing feels a little bit like my ears are drawing attention to it. Can't really describe to you why, but they just are.
right,
And it makes me wonder. I wish we could get some more information. Maybe we will eventually. But IMAX cameras and IMAX film cameras are extremely loud.
very
I,
loud.
I know I
Yeah,
know that IMAX specifically did a lot of work so that Nolan could use them in dialogue. Like typically, if you didn't know this, what they'll use is they'll use a just a regular digital camera that has an appropriate sensor or something. Um, for dialogue, and then they'll reserve the IMAX cameras for the non-dialogue scenes because they're really loud.
with the big action scenes.
Right.
Yeah,
But so
yeah.
obviously this entire film was shot with 70 millimeter IMAX film cameras, the loudest film camera there is. And so I know that there was a lot of like technical and like physical work done to the camera to allow it to
Oh
be there,
yeah,
which is really cool
this
for
was
my
really
eyes.
fascinating.
But
I've heard about
I
this.
wonder what element of it also had to involve something with the sound
Mm.
mixing afterwards. You know, like I'm sure
Well,
there is something.
so they talked about some of the cast had talked about the blimp they called
Yeah.
it, which is like basically like this enclosure that they made to put the IMAX in the camera, but then like okay, well what about the eyepiece? To get the to
Yeah.
see the shot, and they had to come up with a special design for that. And then because this thing was so massive, they were talking about I think it was Matt Damon was talking about it where and Anne Hathaway I think talked about it too. They came up with this like mirror system to where you could look at your co-star because the enclosure was blocking
Oh yeah.
view of them. So they came up with this mirror system so you could like still make contact and still be in like scene with them.
Yeah.
That was really interesting. But where I was going to go with was I really I drew an interesting parallel, an unexpected parallel to Oppenheimer of all movies, because Oppenheimer, so Odyssey at its core was this man, Matt Damon, coming to terms with what he did, the actions of what he did
Yeah.
and his decision. And that's kind of the same thing in Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer was
Yeah.
spearheaded kind of led the bomb creation that ushered in this new age, and there was talking about that in the movie too, like this new age and what we did this thing that changed the world.
Yeah.
And I think that's a Nolan trope, a strong Nolan trope where he talks about, he looks at this stuff like this genius who impact his decision impacts the world, and they come to grips with what they did and they wrestle with what they did. I thought that was really an interesting point, like
Yeah.
an interesting parallel. What did you think?
Yeah. Especially when you think that like maybe this will be minor stories, but like the very um what's the word I'm searching for? The entire point of the Odyssey story is that Odysseus goes to war for 10 years and then has to spend an extra 10 years
20
coming
years.
home.
Yep.
He's gone for 20 years. 20 years he's gone. And so what I've read online is that a lot of like the classic literature professors and experts are saying that this Odysseus is not normal. That the Odysseus and Homer story is kind of sly and kind of witty and kind of humorous and not this like guilt-ridden kind of serious Matt Damon character. And that it is, of course, Christopher Nolan's version of Odysseus. And I think that's great. They even when they are criticizing it, they're not like speaking down about the film. They're just saying like this is every time that the Odyssey is translated or interpreted, there's always the fingerprints of the person doing the interpreting. And I agree that this is a
Mm-hmm.
very like Nolan-y trope. You look at all of his films, Inception as an example, Interstellar as another, even Batman. He did the same thing to Batman. The sense of like coming to terms with your choices and the consequences that your choices have, both good and bad,
Oh, the
and the
Joker.
sacrifices that your
Yeah.
choices
Yeah.
cause on your life and the people connected to you. Yeah, yeah. And it's something that I actually really admire about Christopher Nolan, that he talks very seldomly about in interviews, but every once in a while with interviewers, or interviewers that he's comfortable with. I forget his name, the guy on Happy Sad Confused. I forget his name. He'll let it out sometimes, where he talks about that he's a father, and his
Emma
wife,
Thompson, I think, isn't it?
Emma Stone, not Emma Stone, Emma what's Thompson, Emma Thompson. Thank you, Emma Thompson. His wife. She's a producer on his films.
They were actually
They're both
working on the
parents
film.
of the same kids, obviously. That's how it works. Yeah, yeah. So I mean, every film that Nolan has done, she's produced. And so anyway, I'm getting off in the weeds here. There is a very seldomly and very maturely and very appropriately, he talks about that to be a filmmaker, especially the type of filmmaker he is, that is involved in the film from the moment it starts to the moment it finishes, not just the production of it, filming, but the writing, the sound design, the composing, the technical development, like everything. He's writing these films. He talks about that in some regard he isn't always present as a father. That there is a legitimate sacrifice, a legitimate cost on his life because of his career and the way that he chooses to be invested in his career and his ambitions and those types of things. And like there's no like safe answer for that. There's no like convenient way to deal with that. And it's been like people who know me from my other content that I completely disappeared from for the last week, which they'll hopefully that anyway. It's like more relevant to my life right now than I can explain, because of how private that relevance is to me. And so like I was like in fact, last night I was laying in bed thinking about the Odyssey, thinking about Matt Damon's character, and I just started to cry. Just like the same, like that, and it's not necessarily because of the Odyssey, but the way that the Odyssey and kind of that story of a man,
Resonates with you.
coming to terms with the cost of his actions and the sacrifices it required of him and the people he's connected to, in association with all those other ideas that Christopher Nolan has presented in his other films. Like it just overwhelmed me. It was an overwhelming amount of emotion, and I think like it's just another angle of viewing that kind of experience of learning to live with your actions and learning to kind of accept yourself for the consequences that you brought about and how to make that right for yourself in your own regard. Like I don't want to be the hopefully this is spoilers. The siren scene was particularly
Oh,
meaningful on this theme and this topic.
if Matt Damon wins the Oscar, it will be because of that scene.
Yeah, that scene was really powerful.
Yeah.
So
One last thing, before if you want to wrap it up here, I did read this going back to like the making of the movie. They filmed it chronologically,
wow, that's
actually, which I
cool.
thought was really cool.
That's
Because
really
for
cool.
people that don't know, usually you go to a location, you shoot, your schedule, you do your scenes, you jump around, right? Like
Right.
you try to get them when you can, but Matt Damon, I think, was the one who said it. The last scene that they filmed was the last scene of the movie.
That's
So
cool.
it was like he and the cast were kind of going on this journey, this odyssey, if you will, with as their characters. And I
That's
thought that
cool.
was really, really interesting. And then going back to the practical effects one more time, that scene about halfway through in Hades,
Yeah.
they actually that was all real. So they were talking a bit about they put stunt performers in the ground,
Dang.
and they got the shot of them coming up
That's
out of the
sick.
ground. Yeah,
That's
it's
so
so
cool.
cool. It was so cool.
Yeah.
Definitely recommend it. Go see it. See it on the biggest screen you can. I will say this: I believe that the IMAX Theatrical window is 4 weeks, so you have 3 more weeks at least. It might get extended because I don't think as of right now Spider-Man is getting any of those screens, at least not that I've seen so far. Um, it's going to be my premium large format XD. But yeah, go see it on the largest screen you can. If you can do I'm going to go see the 70 millimeter
That's cool.
projection this weekend. I'll give a report back next week about that. But if you can see those, that's such a special and unique way of viewing movies anymore.
Hmm.
That because what was the old reel? It was 35 millimeter, right? It was
Right.
never really on
Yeah.
70. Um, yeah, it's such a rare thing to have
Hmm.
like an analog reel in today's digital world.
Yeah.
But
And,
very
and
exciting.
yeah, I will support Christopher Nolan in his love of film, like
Oh yeah,
actual film, because he's not pretentious about it the way that now I'm totally forgetting his name. Quentin Tarantino is.
no Tarantino.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, we'll move on to our other topics here. The Doomsday trailer. Shocking to me. Well, actually, I should clarify. We barely made it on time. Yeah, fitting shirt for today, bro. We barely made it on time, so we missed all of the trailers, everything. Like we walked in as the lights were dimming and the movie was starting.
Ah, you missed
Um,
Digger.
yeah, sadly. So I don't know.
Ah,
Did they show the Doomsday trailer before?
no,
Why would they not? Why would they not do that? Maybe
it
Christopher
wasn't
Nolan.
out.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like if they released the Doomsday trailer like the same weekend as the Odyssey, why would they not show it in theaters?
I
Maybe,
didn't even get a Dune trailer before my showing.
yeah, maybe Christopher Nolan X-nayed all that stuff. Who knows?
Now, no, look, there was a Spider-Man trailer, so I got
Oh,
a
interesting.
Spider-Man
Okay.
trailer. It was a good trailer. Like it's the final trailer because it's out in 2 weeks, but it kind of it recapped one Homecoming, Far From Home, and No
Oh,
Way
cool.
Home, and then kind of like where we're at, like previously on Spider-Man. And it was really well done.
Huh.
But I will say this about previews before this movie: shame on whoever put the other mommy trailer in there because that shit scared the crap. That shit scared the crap. It scared the shit out of me, and I was not expecting it. And shame on you, Jessica Chastain. Don't do that. Bad.
Yeah, my coworkers have been telling me about it.
Yeah, it came
Um,
out of nowhere. I was like, oh, this might be interesting.
yeah,
Like
I have
this,
no idea what
and
you're talking
then
about.
jump scare. Like it was like, oh god, what out of nowhere.
So what we do have though is the Doomsday trailer, which is
Doomsday.
which
Yeah.
is cool. I will say, well I mean, what did you talk about trailer? One, some people like avoiding trailers, so I don't want to talk about like the actual content of the trailer too much because if you want to know the content of the trailer, go watch the trailer. We'll do a better
Skip
job than
ahead.
we
Just
will.
skip ahead. I want to talk about it. Skip ahead.
But what I will say is that it got me excited about the film in a way that I did not expect I was going to be.
I was already hyped for it. Like I've already purchased my tickets for
Oh,
opening.
really?
Yeah. Before because I started a new job and I'm in office, so like I don't work from home, and people from my old job, I apologize, but there'll be times I'm home and I'm able to be on my phone more often. And
Right.
so I didn't get any notification that tickets were live. I didn't see the notification about the trailer being live. I happened to just take a break and I was scrolling through Cinemark app, and they had buy your tickets now for Doomsday. I was like, oh, I better get on this. And so I bought my tickets without seeing the preview, so I was already in. But the preview just reeled me in even further. Like I am so excited.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't know why my doubt for Doomsday, like why I'm concerned. I don't know. Like I've just been let down by comic book movie hype before,
Oh, that's fair. Yeah,
and so there's like a cautious excitement. But the trailer is like, yeah, it's okay to be excited. Like, and maybe what helped me be excited is that I'm the trailer made me come to terms with it. I'm okay if the story's messy. I'm okay if there's loopholes. I'm okay if it's the messy type of story that we get in actual comic books that allows us to have a bunch of cool characters together in the same story. because those stories are fun, even if they're messy. Um, yeah. So like it. I also think that like the way that they're doing the characters together. This is a bit of a spoiler for the trailer if you want to avoid it, but like actually it's not even spoilers. Just
We
in
can
the
get into
trailer,
some
yeah,
spoilers.
Thor monologues through the whole thing, and it's
Yeah.
sick. It's
Yeah.
so cool. So yeah, it just made me like I like comic book characters. I like these characters. I like the actors that are playing the characters, and now I'm excited for them all to be together. And I'm okay if it's not perfect. It doesn't need to be because I'm just going to go have a good time.
One thing that we did talk about a lot with the Odyssey was the practical like filmmaking to it and the effects. And I think one thing that I did take away from this, and maybe again, it's a color, because I have some theories about the movie, but the coloring of some of the scenes was really like yellow and looked a lot like, again, it looked like the Batman where they're in front of like the green room, right? And it's just a green screen like I have behind me, and it looks almost like too fake in some spots.
Yeah,
That's a really small nitpick, but what I did like about it was, you know, the Doom voice, Robert Downey Jr.'s Doom voice I thought was really well done.
yeah, very good.
The tone, like it, because the one thing I was concerned about, and I still am, is the lead up to Infinity War. You had all these appearances of Thanos throughout the MCU, and you knew that was coming, and you knew the stakes, and you knew what he was after, and he was a credible threat. We're just now getting this in the first preview 5 months before the movie. Yeah. Why is we're pivoting from Kang to Doom, and Doom I feel like needs some proper build up. And they did a really good job of it in the trailer when he did the big shot, the money shot where he stops Stormbreaker with his two fingers, full power Thor, and he was just able to stop it. That was kind of crazy to me. Well, it wasn't kind of crazy. It was crazy to me, but it did a good job of setting up the stakes, because I think what that implies is that was probably Thor's first interaction with Doom. And now he did that monologue throughout the trailer because he was, he's legitimately afraid.
Yeah.
And his voice in the movie was really like, the trailer was really made a good job conveying why he's afraid.
Yeah. I'm excited for it. I think that what you said is going to be like kind of the make or break element of the film is how well can they set up Doom and everything that comes with that. The incursion of the X-Men being there and like Thor, like think about Thor: Love and Thunder. Where the heck is Thor? Is his daughter going to be in this movie? Like how does any of this mesh with what's been going on? Because I think what's been going on has been very messy and very confusing and very hard to follow and very So how they set up Doom and what follows is what I think is going to be the make or break of the film.
My theory is that you got to think again. You got to go into this movie think as a 2-part movie. You got to do that. You're going to have Doomsday, and then Secret Wars is like the direct sequel. So like, 2 halves of one story. And then I think that Secret Wars will kind of serve as a soft reboot of the MCU. And then
when's Secret Wars?
2027, so next year.
Oh, next year, okay.
Yeah. I don't think there's a movie in between that's announced right now. So I think we're getting Doomsday and then Secret Wars.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I feel like, just as a side note, now that I think about it, now they mentioned Secret Wars, and Secret Wars has me thinking of what was the Disney Plus show called with the scroll?
Secret Invasion.
Secret Invasion. That series in particular. Or like Moon Knight. What the heck's been going on with that guy? Like, was that just like a one-off cool show? Like, I mean,
I think they have longer-term plans for Moon Knight. I think they'll do a Midnight Suns series at some point. I do think that Marvel got kind of like, and it wasn't their fault, right? Disney said, "Hey, we paid a lot of money for you, make content to sell subscriptions to Disney Plus," and so now what was once a connected and cohesive team is now splintered amongst TV shows and the
Yeah.
animation division and the Marvel films, and then COVID happened, and there was a actor strike, and then all the stuff with Jonathan Majors, and it was like they have to pivot to wrap this all up, and I think their inclusion of the X-Men um, really makes a lot of sense because we've already established through other films that there's these incursions happen where these universes come together. And they did a job of establishing in Deadpool and Wolverine, the Fox cinematic universe before the Disney acquisition, you know, and those are like that universe is merging with the 616 MCU universe, and then you have the Fantastic Four because that was a separate universe. So these are converging into one, and it's going to cause trouble. And who knows if Doom came from the Fantastic Four's universe, or if he came from his own universe, or his universe was already destroyed, and now he's got to, trying to, fix everything in his own way, kind of like how Thanos thought he was right and did things how he thought was the best way to go about it. Maybe Doom's doing something similar because in the first poster they released for it was Doom. It was a shot from the back of Doom. You don't see his face, you just see his back, and you see his throne, and you see this giant tapestry. And if you scroll in, it has a kid and a woman on the tapestry. And is that his wife and child, or is that his mother and a young Doom? What is it? Is this his
Whoa.
motivation?
I wonder if they're doing something with. Well, no, they just did Jonathan with the Fantastic Four, but or not Jonathan. What's his name? Their first kid.
Um, Nathaniel,
Wow.
right? Is it Nathaniel?
What the heck is his name?
It's Nathan Richards, right?
I don't remember. Whoever it is, him. Are they doing something with
Franklin.
Valeria? Franklin. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Are they doing? They just introduced Franklin. Are they doing something with Valeria? Richards?
Maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe. Well, because if you remember, Doom was in the post-credit scene of Fantastic Four First Steps.
Oh yeah, talking to Franklin.
Yeah. So I
knows?
think Franklin is the key to all of this. I think that's his plan. Yeah. Or somewhere.
I'm excited. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'm looking very much forward to it.
So we have Spider-Man, and then we have Doomsday. There's nothing after Spider-Man. Wow, they've really slowed down, which I think is good.
It's a smart thing to do, right? I mean, you have X-Men 97 currently ongoing, which is really good. Well, we have phones in front of us for a reason. Let's look this up. 2026 MCU projects. Yeah, because I don't think there's been anything else that's I think it's literally just this, and then that's it. There might be some animation stuff, more animation series. Let's see.
Oh yeah, the only thing for 2027 is Secret Wars.
Secret Wars,
December.
yeah. Well, Comic-Con is this weekend. So I think we'll get some news. Maybe some news. A lot of people are speculating. Vision Quest comes out later this year. And then I think second season of Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man comes out this year. But yeah, a lot of new rumors about Comic-Con and maybe announcing some of the new X-Men characters. I don't see that happening though, because that's going to take away from the X-Men characters are reappearing in Doomsday. So I don't think they're going to announce a new Professor X and Magneto, even though we know that they're working on a new X-Men film. But I can't see them announcing any of that yet. I can't. I just don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah. Maybe one day we'll get Mahershala Ali as Blade, but for now they've just dialed back.
Did you hear the Kevin Feige quote about that?
No, what did he say?
Somebody asked him about it, and he says, "I lost a lot of sleep over it, and I feel like a loser because I couldn't get it off the ground or something like that." He took it really harshly. Like he was like took it very harsh.
I mean, I don't want to say that he kind of deserves it, but like if you tease Mahershala Ali as Blade and then don't do something with it for 7 years, is that how long it's been? Like,
No, because he was Well, I think it was announced, yeah, and then but he was in the Eternals post credit scene.
Yeah, and so was the guy who was going to play Black Knight.
Yeah,
when was Mahershala Ali announced as Blade?
What's his name? Kit Harington.
July 2019. 7 years. I was right. Oh my gosh, I'm a genius. Steel trap this thing. 7 years. I think you deserve to lose a little bit of sleep. You know, like it's Mahershala Ali, and
I think he's going to be in the Midnight Suns. I think that's.
I hope so. I think he's getting kind of old.
Pivot the Blade movie into a Midnight Suns movie, and everyone will be happy.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's Doomsday. I think it's good. I think the direction of the MCU feels better. Feels real like quick. I can be excited about it and not have that excitement be disappointed.
What are you going to see first? You're going to see Dune or Doomsday?
I thought we were real good friends. You should know this.
I think you're going to see Dune.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I'm seeing Dune.
I'm seeing Dune. I'm seeing Doomsday first.
Look at that. The perfect yin and yang.
Not that I'm not looking forward to Dune, but my hype for Doomsday is like it's way ahead of it. Yeah.
Yeah, equally for me for Dune 3. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm really excited for Doomsday, but Dune 3, man, that's up there. So, yeah, as we conclude, we'll move on to our question from Source 3. Appreciate you supporting the podcast by watching and leaving a comment. So let's get into his question, bro. What did he ask us?
Yeah, so my question would be, why is live action pushed so hard lately? I've been enjoying the One Piece live action, but I also like my 3D shows and movies along with just 2D. Is it just easy money, or do people pitch it as a new way of telling an existing story? What are your I'll let you take the lead on this one.
You know, I thought about this because, like, obviously it's a big point of complaint for people. It's a big point of annoyance. We have an example, as we talked about in the opening part of this podcast, that's failing, Moana. Mm-hmm. I mean, and there's so much about that movie that is just.
But for every failure, you have a success. Like last year, Lilo and Stitch did really well.
Yeah, and I think. So like why though? Like we could sit here and contemplate like, is it a good thing? Do we like them? Do we not? But what Source 3 is asking is that like why? Why are studios so interested in live action stuff? And I think the biggest example is Disney. But even Masters of the Universe was another like live action adaptation. I'm trying to think of another examples.
Well, I mean, but they already had a live action though.
True. But so what I would say is it like at least the live action remakes.
How to Train Your Dragon.
Oh, How to Train Your Dragon is a good example. What I would say, this is as I was like throughout this podcast, I knew we were going to answer this question. I've been thinking about why, and I think an interesting element to question is how much of it is related to like the ideation cost, so to speak, of filmmaking. Right? You want to make a movie, you need to pay someone to write a script. Or before that, you need to pay someone to write a story. And the person writing the story has to have an idea. And then when they write a story, they have to write a script. And when you write the script, you have to storyboard. And when you storyboard, you have to, you know, like there's a lot of work that goes into like creating the content of your movie before you get anything involved in production. Where you have like a live action remake, a lot of that is already solved. You know, like there's almost like a, you know, it's easier to trace something than it is to draw it. Like you still have to have skill. It's not quite the same. Like you're not printing it, you're tracing it. You know,
covers and music. Yeah,
yeah. There's an element of and some covers are better than the original. You know, some live actions are really really good. And so I think I at least this is the first time that I've ever thought of it, that I do wonder both from like a speed cost, right? Because time is money. From a cost perspective in time and a genuine money cost, how much are these studios able to save by cutting out a lot of that startup that has to happen with an original
Oh
project?
yeah, yeah. I think at the end of the day, it is mostly about money, but I think when it's done well, it can be a passion project for
Yeah,
people. Like the How You Train Your Dragon. There was the original, the creator of the animated movie, along with most of the voice cast, like Gerard Butler, voiced the king leader in the
yeah,
original movie, and he was in the live action. And so it was like a passion project for
yeah.
these people. you know so I do think that, and I do think in some ways it can be to adapt it for a different audience, and a more general audience, and maybe down to times. Like I think Moana is just a weird example because Moana 1 just came out recently, and then there's Moana 2 literally coming out this year. So you had the live action Moana and Moana 2, the animated sequel. Like,
And
this
like,
doesn't make sense.
who likes Moana? Children. Do you think
Yeah.
children want to see a live action remake of Moana? I don't think so.
No.
Like, especially when you have, no offense, Dwayne Johnson looking super weird in his muscle suit and his wig.
Yeah.
Like, I think even a kid deals with the uncanny valley of that. And so, like, are they going to go experiencing something new? Like, there's also like, it's new. They're not as comfortable with it, not as familiar with it. They are that, like, the Moana they've seen 18 million times. They could recite it to you. So I don't. The Moana in particular was a really, really weird choice. So I think that there's like both the, it's easier to redo something than to start something new from a cost perspective, and there's also a little bit
Sure.
of a guarantee that we know people like this.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
it like, this is so interesting. This random tangent. I'll keep it brief, but I've been playing a lot of Magic the Gathering, and it's my recent ADHD obsession. So I'm like reading everything about it. And Hasbro, who is the company that owns Wizard of the Coast that makes Magic the Gathering, had an earnings call. And in the earnings call, naturally, they talked about their best product, Magic the Gathering. And it was interesting to hear these people, both the CEOs and the other like Hasbro employees, C-suite executives, and then the like Wall Street people. I don't even know how you would describe them. Ask and answer questions, and it was so eye opening to think about how much of a business has to function on like a a promise of return in the future
Yeah.
from an investor perspective. And so I think that there's a little bit of like, however the money works in the way that I'm not familiar with, the studios can say making a live action thing not only is going to cost us less, but we are more confident in it giving us a specific return because we have proof of how well it did before.
You're 100% on it.
So
Yep.
they're like that confidence, which obviously was ill advised in the case of Moana, benefits them from like an investor Wall Street perspective in a way that a movie just performing well at the box office, the way that, I don't know, Back Rooms or some other obsession, like one of these films that just kind of comes out of nowhere. Michael, another example. Obviously, that is very, very beneficial from a business, but I think that business, everyone knows this, business has different needs, and I think that the live action films serve a need that like give investors comfort,
They're safe
even
bets.
even if they end up performing poorly, the initial like offering that it gives them before it's even a thing, I think gives some type of security that they need. Is what I felt.
Well, you're right on it. Like when you know families tend to stick with what they know,
Right.
right? Like, okay, this new burger place opened in town. Are you going to go there? You're going to go to McDonald's, because
Yeah.
you're going to
Which
go
one do you know?
I hate McDonald's, but people are going to go there because it's what they know, right? And they've had it a million times, and it's usually pretty similar stuff. And they'll do that, and they'll do that for movies. Like, oh, we liked Moana, let's go see what the new one's about. Or we liked Frozen, whenever the inevitable remake live action of
Right.
Frozen. Or The Lion King. And they've had a lot of success with these live actions. They're, like you said, they're safe bets because studios are being treated like almost like private equity anymore, that they need safe bets.
Yeah.
Conversely, though, maybe in the case of Moana, because Disney is so large, they can get away with releasing a dud, but they can just declare the loss. They just write it off. So it's like, did they deliberately just do a big, flop to just write it off later? I don't know. Maybe they felt like I was going to do well. Maybe they're trying to draw up marketing for Moana 2 when it comes out, which I think is already stupid, and it's because it's already a popular film. It's going to be a big family film of the holidays. So I don't know. I think it's all about, it goes back to money, and like you said, it's all a safe bet. That's what it is.
Yeah. So there, which I think is sad. This is my concluding thoughts about this question. Then we can wrap up the podcast because we've been doing this for an hour and it's midnight Pro's time. He has to get up early. Yeah. Thanks for your patience, Pro. It makes me sad how an emphasis on these live action, remake or not, I think just that, like, in general, even not remakes, like they didn't make an animated Odyssey movie. Like, of course, it's Christopher Nolan. Yeah. Why would we expect him to make an animated? That's an unfair comparison. But it feels like we're losing a lot of filmmaking emphasis on other formats, which just makes me sad because there's other formats that are absolutely incredible.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right.
So, yeah, let us know if you have a question. We would love to talk about it in our next episode. Or in the comments, you can also let us know what you thought of the Doomsday trailer, or if you went and saw the Odyssey, any of those things. Let us know. We appreciate you watching.
Be a pro, support physical media, and donate blood.
Oh, wrong button. Leave this recording.
Leave this in.